Oh, the humanity, ladies and gentlemen. How do you like your Formula One? This feels like Prost and Senna, doesn't it, ever so slightly? Finally, we have ourselves in King George Russell, first of his name, a driver willing to go head to head with the one they call Maximilian Verstappen. This has gotten techie. Let me build you some context, set the table per se. A couple of years ago, you remember that George and Max came together at Baku. Then George Russell faced down one Maximilian Verstappen and wouldn't take a step back. Then Maximilian Verstappen called him a D-head straight to his face. Then I was of the opinion that that was George Russell getting a bit too aggressive, putting his car in a place where it didn't belong. A gap that was always going to close. Since then, however, we know at the Qatar Grand Prix, it has got techie. George Russell in the press conference saying something to the effect of this, that but for Max Verstappen, I would have dropped it on pole. That was the 55 milliseconds he cost me by running me off the road, being in a place that he shouldn't have been, driving unnecessarily slow. Max Verstappen's response, of course, was, "What are you talking about, Jam? Where do you want me to go? The car can't just disappear into a black hole. This is physics. This is counting." The stewards responded that Maximilian Verstappen was at fault, driving unnecessarily slowly. Ergo, he warranted a one-place demotion. The brilliant pole position that felt inevitable manifested the fact that at this stage, as at December of 2024, Maximilian Verstappen is metronomic in his sporting endeavour. Par excellence. They still demoted him, ruined what could have been an absolutely incredible, what was still anyway an incredible race, but depriving Maximilian Verstappen, most F1 aficionados said, of his rightful place on the grid. After that, Max responded thus: "I don't know who that dude is. He can go and fudge himself, can one George Russell of Kings Lynn, Norfolk, first of his name." Says, "I've been in a lot of stewards' rooms with a lot of drivers, but none of them have tried to screw me over like George Russell. Who the fudge does that dude think he is? It's ridiculous how he tried to use me to score a penalty, doing the political ping-ponging that George Russell has made a career out of thus far." Techie, according to Marca, Maximilian Verstappen said of George Russell, "He can go and fudge himself. I don't want anything to do with that fella and his politicking, his very peculiar brand of..." And I hear what Max Verstappen's saying, but is this not sport? How, ladies and gentlemen, do you like your very unique brand of the one, the Fs? I would contend this. Maximilian Verstappen has said on a gazillion occasions that what he wants to do is nail the other 19 to the tune of 30 to 60 seconds. Dominance, par excellence, each and every single time. Give him the car, and that's how far he thinks he should be ahead of the rest. I would not disagree with Max Verstappen. I think he's on the money. However, as far as his legacy, if indeed the Hall of Fame and Sporting Greatness PLC is a stock in which you can be or want to be invested, the season that's been 2024 and its circumstance, convergent settings, has been a gift for Max Verstappen. Do you see them, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, scarpering for the hills, running into the distance, away from the fountain of reason, abbots of unreason each and every single time, by dint of his performances towards the latter stages of this season in what ostensibly has been a slower car. This has been a gift if we are talking about the GOAT argument to Maximilian Verstappen. We need to see this dude perform in adverse circumstances so the naysayers can no longer put such a fallacy of a thesis forward, that he doesn't respond well to adversity, that pressure bust pipes, and under pressure they will say, as George Russell has done today, that Maximilian Verstappen in 2021 broke. Please see as your exhibit A, Jeddah as an example, Brazil, that he will overstep the line, while 2024 is the antithesis even to that thesis. No longer can they say, hence why I say to Max Verstappen, I will see you that 60-second domination thesis and raise you this, sir. 24 has been brilliant to you as far as deciding where he sits in the Hall of Fame of F1, giving him his rightful throne. Mount Rushmore settings now. Not even the most ardent of cult LH member or Maximilian Verstappen naysayer can argue that now. However, George Russell is taking it to Maximilian Verstappen in real time ahead of the final Grand Prix of 2024 at Abu Dhabi. Speaking to motorsport.com, George Russell, of all the shenanigans at the Qatar Grand Prix, had this to say: I find it all a bit ironic considering Saturday night he said he's going to purposely go out of his way to crash into me and, quote, put me on my fudging head in the wall. Oh, the humanity. Them's fighting words from Max Verstappen. Clearly he was not pleased. None too pleased per se, giving George Russell a piece of his mind. Now, do I like that type of verbiage? Probably not. Would it be better worded by Maximilian Verstappen? Probably. But do I like my F1 drivers a proper chariot of fire settings, fire-breathing dragons, Ayrton Senna settings, each and every single time? Of course I do. I like this. Nobody likes F1 snowflakery, not in December of 2024. We need this rivalry, ladies and gentlemen of their F1 jury. This is it. King George Russell, first of his name, continues to question somebody's integrity as a person while saying comments like that the day before. I find it very ironic and I'm not going to sit here and accept it. People have been bullied by Max for years now and you can't question his driving abilities, but he cannot deal with adversity whenever anything has gone against him. Oh, the humanity, ladies and gents. I can't even appease my tear ducts. This is chaos and I love it. Let's dissect for that sentence, that stanza, that turn of phrase from King George, because I feel like that's the most polemic one of them all. To question somebody's integrity as a person while saying comments like that the day before, I find very ironic. I think, of course, you can question somebody's integrity. Of course you can. You're entitled to. If you're in the steward's room and somebody says something against you that you disagree with, you feel like they're leveraging the politics game, as so many F1 drivers have done in the past and will do in the future, then of course you can raise that. Surely, is this controversial? Really, however, the next one, I find it ironic and I'm not going to sit there and accept it. People have been bullied by Max for years now, and you can't question his driving abilities, but he cannot deal with adversity. Let's talk about this very quickly, because again, that's the low-hanging fruit, off-trotted out trope, low-hanging one about Max Verstappen, that this dude can't handle adversity. Now, you can leverage Exhibit A, Jeddah 2021. You can say Brazil all you want to, but the second half of 2024, to my money, by my subjectivity, if indeed we're never going to sacrifice truth value or objectivity at the altar of partisanship, for my money, this is proof positive now that Maximilian Verstappen can and will and does handle adversity. How could you have more adversity to juggle? How many more adverse spinning plates does he need to spin? Beef between Jos, father of Max, and Christian, team principal of Red Bull Racing. A. B. Misconduct gate. A car in Exhibit C that wasn't capable of fighting fire with fire as far as Lando Norris is concerned. How, therefore, could you construct a season even that epitomizes adversity? And every single hurdle that was presented to Maximilian Verstappen, and I will go to my grave putting this forth as a supposition, my keystone supposition, every single adversity hurdle that Maximilian Verstappen has encountered at the ripe old age of 27 in 2024, he has overcome it, dusted it off his shoulder. George Russell continues, Jeddah 21, Brazil 21, he lashes out. Budapest this year, very first race, the car wasn't dominant. He was crashing into Lewis, slamming his team. As I said, George Russell continues, for me, those comments on Saturday night and Sunday were totally disrespectful and unnecessary, because what happens on track, we're fighting hard. It's part of racing. What happens in the stewards room? Well, you fight hard, George Russell says, but it's never personal. But you know, he's taking it too far now. I just don't know why other drivers have had this from him when they battle with him. As a role model, Lewis Hamilton is exceptional. He epitomizes the way that I want to race, continues George Russell, first of his name. You can go beyond the line sometimes in making slight misjudgment, but going out of your way to say deliberately that you will purposefully crash into somebody and put them on their head, King George says, is beyond the line. Oh, the humanity, ladies and gents. Let me know where you stand on this. Max Verstappen, for the avoidance of doubt, will leverage everything in his power. Of course, he goes up to the line and peers above it. Sometimes there are infractions, but how else do you expect this to go down? This is F1, for Pete's sake, not of the snowflake variety, please. We've had too many years of that, and I don't want any more. Max Verstappen is giving it to the other 19 on the grid, as I like to see this game played. Weaponizing fear, of course. Is he a line stepper? Has he been a line stepper from time to time? Absolutely. It would be disingenuous of me, no lose me integrity points, if I argued anything else. But for the avoidance of doubt, I've always wanted to enjoy drinking from the fountain of sporting excellence. Therefore, how can I not talk about Maximilian Verstappen's performance at Brazil a couple of race weekends ago? How can I not? I fear for King George. I admire what he's trying to do though. That's the operative word there, because I'm not sure that King George Russell of Kings Lynn Norfolk, first of his name, is ready for that Maximilian Verstappen smoke. That dude is like the Incredible Hulk. It is a bad idea for anyone else on the F1 grid to make him angry, because for him, revenge is a dish best served warm. What are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? Revenge, as far as Maximilian Verstappen, is going to get very techie. Watch keenly this race weekend to see how this story plays out. Why? Well, because that chap is Maximus Verstappen, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, loyal servant of the one true emperor Ayrton Senna, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and Maximilian Verstappen will have his vengeance in this life or the next.